Have you ever thought about selling on Amazon, but you're not sure what it's all about or how successful Amazon sellers actually are? I've got the numbers that you want to know today on AMZ Unlocked. Hello and welcome to AMZ Unlocked. I am Kimberly Locke, and this is a place for inspiration, empowerment, and education on all things Amazon. Today, I'm going to be discussing some hard numbers about real Amazon sellers. Who's buying on Amazon? Who's selling on Amazon? Different Amazon business models? Information about the global marketplaces that are out there on Amazon? And what it takes to really be a successful seller so you can decide if this is something that you might want to jump into. So what's all the fuss about? Let's find out. Now, Jungle Scout has done a fantastic job, and they do this every year. They do a survey of real Amazon sellers. And I've got a link in the description to their full research report if you want to take a look at it yourself. But let's go through some of the most important highlights that I pulled out of the report that I think will help you understand, if you have no idea what Amazon is about, what it takes, who's buying, who's selling, and how you do it. Let's start at the beginning. Who is buying on Amazon? You know that it's a big online retailer, but how big is it really? Amazon gets 2.7 billion, and that's a billion with a B, site visits every month. That's a lot of traffic. There are 300 plus million customers worldwide. So this is not just a business for people in America. This is a business that you could take and expand globally and reach a huge market. 66% of US consumers actually start their buying journey and their searches on Amazon. They'll use Amazon like Google. They'll use it as their search platform. Now, the US is definitely Amazon's largest marketplace, but it's not the only one. But in the US, there are 7,400 products sold every minute. That's pretty big. Now, we'll dive into some of the other marketplaces later, but let's take a look at who's selling on Amazon now that we know who's buying. Okay, so who's selling on Amazon? There are third-party and first-party sellers. Third-party sellers are definitely the majority. They operate through Seller Central. First-party are more like the corporations. They're the actual vendors, and they operate on Vendor Central. So we're going to focus mostly on those Seller Central sellers and the third-party especially. 2 million of the third-party sellers on Amazon are small businesses. There's a 70-30 split. 70% are third-party sellers and 30% are first-party vendor sellers. And there's about 7% that will operate as both. Now, 58% of the sales on Amazon come from these third-party sellers. And 89% of these small businesses on Amazon are profitable. That's huge. 89% are making a profit with their business on Amazon. Now, when you look at the demographics, 72% of these small business third-party sellers are operated by men. So women, we need to jump in the fray and get in there. And women are a growing number of sellers, but the men do still outnumber us just a little bit, but we can change that. 55% of these sellers are from the United States, and 58% of them are between 25 and 44 years old. So we've got an image, we've got a picture of what your typical Amazon seller looks like. Let's take a look now at some of the different business models that are available to the sellers. Now, private label is definitely my preference, and this is where you create a product, you do your product research, you decide what the product is going to be, you find a manufacturer, you import it into Amazon, and you develop a brand and you sell it. Some of the other business models may seem easier, but they're not as profitable. You don't have as good a profit margin as you will as a private label seller. And you're going to be competing on price because you're selling commodity goods. You're not developing or creating anything truly unique when you operate with these other business models. And differentiation is definitely one of the keys to success as an Amazon seller. But of the sellers on Amazon, 26% do participate as a wholesale model where they are going to the manufacturer and buying the products at a wholesale price and then selling them. 25% are participating in retail arbitrage where they're going to different retailers and they're purchasing products in bulk at a discount and then reselling them. And 24% are doing the same thing but through online arbitrage. So they're finding products at a discount online and reselling them on Amazon. And again, none of those allow you to differentiate the product or create your own brand. You're just reselling something someone else has made. And a lot of other people could be selling it also. Then we have the world of drop shipping, and 17% of the sellers on Amazon use this business model. And this may seem really great because you don't have to purchase any inventory up front. You're just picking a product, listing it, and then when the order is placed, you order it directly from the manufacturer and it gets shipped directly from the manufacturer to your customer. But the problem with that is that a lot of the drop shipping manufacturers are overseas and in China. So your shipping time is going to be 2 to 4 weeks. And people on Amazon, especially the US, they expect 2-day or less shipping. So that's going to be very difficult to win the sale and the conversions with that business model. And again, you have no control. You have no special packaging. It's not necessarily a differentiated product, and it's not your product. Now, where this is a little bit different is in the next 8% of sellers on Amazon who participate in the Amazon Handmade program. This is brilliant for artisans who are hand making their creations, and most of these are going to be fulfilled by merchant type of business models with the handmade. But this is a great way for someone who's not wanting to have a huge inventory shipped into Amazon, but make something, an artistic item, and can list it on Amazon and present their product well beyond trade fairs and craft fairs to a much bigger audience. Now let's talk about fulfillment next. I know I've done a video in the past comparing fulfilled by merchant to fulfilled by Amazon, FBM to FBA. And I'll drop the link to that video where I go into a lot more detail below in the description. But just as a quick overview, 86% of sellers on Amazon use the FBA model, compared to 37% use FBM. Now, 22% are going to use both, and I've done that in the past too, not on a permanent basis, but especially around the holidays when traffic can get really huge and your sales numbers are really important. That's the time of year when it really matters that you're getting the sales, and your inventory restrictions with Amazon can prohibit you from being able to get enough inventory in. So having that backup fulfilled by merchant listing, if you run out of stock with Amazon and you can't get your inventory checked in time, keeps you from losing sales. And it actually saved me one December when I made a terrible mistake. We'll go into that another time, but this is a definite great way to have a backup. So with FBA, you're sending your products into Amazon's warehouse and letting them take care of all of the logistics of fulfillment, of sending the products to the customers, and they also will handle the returns as well. With FBM, you're handling all of that. You're picking and packing and shipping all of the orders. You're handling all of the returns and all of the customer service. You can either do this from your own facility or from a third-party logistics company. And if you can offer 1 to 2 day shipping to your customers through the FBM model, you can still qualify for the Prime badge. It's a program called Seller Fulfilled Prime. So now we've talked about who's buying and who's selling. Let's talk about where they're buying and selling. 42% of sellers who sell in the US marketplace also sell in at least one other international market. I'm a perfect example of that. I sell in the United States. That's where I started, even though I live in Australia. And I've expanded, and now I also sell in Australia, and I'm looking at selling in the European market or the UK market in the future, but not yet. One lesson I learned is that it's very important to make sure that you're really dialed in and focused and have perfected your selling in one marketplace before you go and expand. So let's talk about a few of the different marketplaces and how the numbers stack up there. So 83% of sellers sell in the United States. That's followed by Canada, and in third place with the UK. 18% of sellers are selling in the United Kingdom. And that has actually had a growth year over year of 21%. Coming in at seventh place with 9% of sellers selling is the Australian marketplace. But that's had an increase of 47%. So this is definitely still an emerging market, but it's definitely one that is growing fast. So it's a good time to get in and start selling on the Australian marketplace, which takes a completely different strategy than the US. Some other countries that I noticed have had some great increase in the last year include Italy and France in the European Union, followed by Brazil, Turkey, Japan, and Saudi Arabia. So now that we've talked about where people are selling, let's talk about what they're selling. What categories are topping the charts in Amazon for sellers? Some categories went up from 2022 to 2023, some stayed the same, and a few went down. But the top categories that had increases include home and kitchen products, beauty and personal care, clothing, shoes, and jewelry, baby products, and office products. So all of those categories had slight increases from 22 to 23 with the number of sellers selling in those categories. Some that are still very popular but didn't have any change at all stayed the same include the health category, household and baby care, sports and outdoor, pet products, and tools and home improvement. A few categories that are still very popular that had a bit of a decrease, but not very much, just a few percentage points each, include categories such as toys and games, arts, crafts, and sewing, and garden and outdoors. So now let's talk about where people are getting the products for these different categories. By far, China is still the top sourcing country. It did have a bit of a drop, but not very much. And it's still way above all of the other countries as a source for manufacturing. I know a lot of people really are looking for alternatives to having things manufactured in China for a lot of different reasons. And I know there are a lot of people, especially those who sell in the US, who really want to find those products made in the US. But unfortunately, the manufacturing capabilities in the United States just hasn't gotten to the point that can really compete with what's coming out of China. I've said this before, and it's a little bit of a joke, but it is true. If you don't want something made in China, then you just don't want something. The Chinese are very skilled at manufacturing, and they're able to manufacture quality products at competitive prices. So it makes it very difficult. People typically aren't willing to pay 3 times the price for the same product made in another country. So until that manufacturing capability levels out in other countries, China is definitely the top source and where I source my products from as well. And I actually have an absolutely lovely factory that I work with. The people there are brilliant and really great to work with, and I can't wait till I can visit them in person. Going to China for your sourcing tours to the Canton Fair is an outstanding opportunity, and to get to meet these lovely people manufacturing your products and going on a factory tour can really open your eyes to the possibilities of working with some of these great people. So now we know where people are getting their products made. Let's talk about how many products are in your catalog and what are you selling it for. Let's take a look at the numbers for products themselves. So 35% of sellers have 5 or less products in their product catalog, and 51% have 10 or less. So it doesn't take necessarily a huge collection of products to be a successful seller. Pricing, though, is incredibly important. 58% of sellers price their products between $16 and $50 each. Only 9% price their products at $51 or above. So if it's something that you can work out, if it's something that you have the capital to invest in, to buy a product that you can sell for that higher price, there's going to be less competition. It is going to require more of an investment, though. And a good rule of thumb is when you look at the price of a product, consider that 1/3 of it goes to sourcing the product, 1/3 of it goes to the logistics of having it fulfilled and the fees to Amazon, and then 1/3 of it should potentially be left for you as gross profit. So being able to invest a little more and buy a product that operates at a higher price might be a good strategy. I personally will not sell anything that I'm going to price less than $25. And the simple reason is because of those numbers. When you look at the 3/3, I'm going to spend 1/3 of it in sourcing the product, 1/3 of it in fulfilling the product, and then I have 1/3 left as my gross profit margin. That's before advertising. So if I only have a couple of dollars left in my gross profit margin, I'm not going to have the money to invest in advertising that product, and I'm going to end up losing money. So for me, it's really important to make sure that my product is selling above that $25 mark, so I have enough of a gross profit margin to properly promote and advertise my products. So now we've looked at all of these things. We've looked at who's buying, who's selling, where they're selling, how they're sourcing. How are they doing? How's their performance? What are they doing in their sales numbers, and what does it take to get to that level? So according to LendingTree, who was cited as the source in the report, small businesses selling on advertise make more than any other side hustle out there. This is more than any direct selling or any other type of business out there. 22% of these small businesses are generating revenue over $10,000 a month, and 55% are generating revenue over $5,000 a month. So that's revenue. Like I've said before, that's a vanity metric. You see the screenshots of people and their sales on Amazon. That's a vanity metric. It doesn't necessarily equal the profits. So how does that pair out with the profits? Are these sellers actually making money? And yes, they are. 89% of these small businesses on Amazon are profitable, and 37% of them had an increase in profits over the last year. So as a reference, most US companies operate with a profit margin between 7 and 10%. 55% of the small businesses on Amazon report profit margins over 15%. So they're doing better than the average of US corporations. And a staggering 35% have profit margins over 20%. So yes, selling on Amazon works. You can make a profit selling on Amazon. You can be successful selling on Amazon. But what does it take to get to that point? What is the commitment a seller needs to make? There's a definite time commitment. 46% of Amazon sellers were able to launch their business within 3 months, and 24% were able to launch it between 3 and 6 months. Now, what kind of time is it going to take? That's how long it takes to get it going. What kind of time is it going to take to operate it? And I've said before, it's not a passive income business model. It is a business you do have to be active in, but it doesn't take 40 hours a week to operate a successful Amazon business. In fact, 53% of sellers spend 10 hours or less each week operating their business. 38% of Amazon sellers still work a full-time job of 40 or more hours per week. But here's the great news, 38% are actually digital nomads and travel the world working remotely. So now we've talked about the time commitment. What's the financial commitment? As I've said, this is a real business and you do have to make a financial investment in this business. And there are people out there telling you that you can spend $600 and start an Amazon business and in a few months be making tens of thousands of dollars and quit your job. And that's not true. And I've got the figures to back that up. But you can make money at Amazon. We've already proven that. So how much does it take to put into start your business? 58% of sellers invest less than $5,000 to start their Amazon business. And 25% actually do start with less than $1,000. So where do you get the money to start your Amazon business? Well, that's a personal decision for yourself. But just know that 77% of sellers are bootstrapping it. They're putting their own money in and starting their business with their own money and doing it as a solopreneur to start out. And a whopping 63% of Amazon sellers are profitable within their first year. So you invest your time and your money, and it doesn't take forever and a day to actually become profitable. And if you're like me, you'll just be reinvesting that money back into growing your business. I'm reinvesting the profits from my business to be able to add additional products, to expand to other marketplaces, so I can build that sales revenue up and build that profit up to a point where I can have a business that I can sell for a 7-figure exit. To get that, I do have to make a commitment to marketing. Again, it's not a set it and forget it passive income business. So you do have to have some promotional expenses involved in this. 80% of sellers advertise either on or off of Amazon. And I've always said external traffic is something that Amazon loves. So advertising off of Amazon in addition to your on Amazon PPC is definitely a wise choice and something that I participate in as well. And with your attribution links from Amazon, you can earn 10% back on any sales from that external traffic. So that's just an increase to your profitability. In 2022, 41% of sellers advertised on social media, and that was up from 16% the year before. So what are the social media channels that most Amazon sellers are using currently? Facebook and Instagram definitely top the list, although they have decreased from the previous year. Facebook is getting 67% of sellers advertising on it, and Instagram is getting 49% of sellers using that platform for their external marketing. I don't think it would surprise anyone to hear that TikTok has had a massive increase in the usage from Amazon sellers. 35% of sellers advertise on TikTok, and that I'm one of those. Surprisingly to me though, YouTube is coming out as a platform for Amazon sellers. 29% of Amazon sellers are using YouTube as one of their social media advertising platforms, and that's had a massive 86% increase from last year. It doesn't take millions of dollars to have an effective marketing campaign. In fact, 70% spend less than $2,500 a month on their advertising. And if that number scares you, don't let it. When you actually look at the sales that it drives, if you're spending $2,500 on advertising, but you're getting $5,000 in sales, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with those kind of numbers. But a staggering 46% actually spend less than $500 a month in advertising. So why do people choose to sell on Amazon? What's the motivation? I've said in the past that you need to have a pretty strong why to stick with any kind of side business, because it's going to take trials and tribulations you're going to have to go through. And if your why doesn't matter, you're going to throw your hands up and quit. So what are some of the top whys that were reported from this Amazon sellers that were surveyed for this study? By and large, being your own boss was number one. And that's definitely one of my reasons. Some people just wanted to earn extra income, and some, like me as well, want the flexibility to travel and work anywhere in the world. I am definitely on that path to becoming a digital nomad. A few of the other reasons include building a nest egg or a savings, being able to spend extra money on travel, paying off debt, quitting their job, and retiring early. So yes, most of those boxes tick, 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 and tick for me, for sure. What about you? What would be your motivation for starting a business on Amazon? Drop a comment and let me know. I'm curious. But like I said, there are going to be trials and tribulations. There are challenges that you face as an Amazon seller, but there are ways to overcome those challenges as well. Some of the common challenges that are faced by most Amazon sellers are actually things that I'm working right here on this channel to help prevent and help address for other sellers. Things like finding the right product, getting customer reviews. There's all kinds of strategies for how to get customer reviews. Managing PPC advertising. I've put out many videos helping with that. Optimizing product listings. If you haven't gotten my free product optimizing checklist, the link is in the description, so make sure you check that out. Finding a supplier, that can be a definite tricky one. Branding your business. That is definitely a very important thing that you need to do for the success of your business, but it can definitely be challenging, and that's something that I'll be talking about in future videos. And we have talked a little bit about managing inventory, and it's something that we'll be talking about again because I know it's a very popular topic. But all of these challenges can be addressed with some just foundational education. And one of the ways that you're doing that is right here on this channel. So what are the factors that are common among successful sellers? What are the things that they need to have to be successful? And this is coming straight from the sellers themselves. Having enough passion and motivation so you can get through the tough times, top the list. Having the necessary tools and information to help. And as I said, that's one of the things I'm trying to do here on this channel. You need to be motivated to make money, and you need to have the time and financial commitment to invest in the business to be successful. So if you've got the time, you've got the money, you've got the drive, you just need the information. And that's one of the things that I'm here for. So let me know in the comments, not only why you want to start an Amazon business, but what areas are you looking to get more knowledge in? How can I help? I really hope this has been valuable. Please don't forget to drop those comments below so we can grow this channel and provide the information that you need so you can also become a successful Amazon seller like me. And if this has been valuable to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you get notified of the upcoming videos we're putting out like this one.